Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. Welcome to the 72nd Carlos Palanca Memorial Awards for Literature. It's wonderful to see many of you here. We have a lot of new faces in the crowd, and I do hope you will enjoy this evening's revelry. A couple of housekeeping notes before we begin. Smoking is prohibited inside the premises, including this ballroom. We also kindly ask everyone to please set your mobile phones on silent mode to avoid disrupting the program. So all rise now for a short invocation followed by the Philippine National Anthem. Let us put ourselves in the presence of the Lord. Almighty Father, we thank you for gathering us again tonight in this celebration of literary talent and tradition. May your goodness and love be present as we honor the newest batch of poets, playwrights, and authors who willingly expressed and shared with the world the prose and poetry you have bestowed upon them. Continue inspiring every one of us that we may pursue this tradition of literary excellence in the years to come. All these we ask through Christ our Lord.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang magiliw, helas ang sinakanan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, kuya ka ng magiting, sa manlulupin, di ka pasisingil, sa nagagang tutok sa simoy at sa langit ng bagaw, ay hinagang tula, kawin sa pagkayang minamahal, ang isang ng matawad mo'y tagumpay na nag-iingin, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pang ay di magtitingin. Luma ng araw ng walhati pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Ang hindi kaya na pagkay mga api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
You may now take your seats. The Carlos Palanca Foundation, along with the members of the Palanca family, would like to thank everyone here and those who are joining us live via Facebook streaming. This year marks the 72nd successful edition of the Palanca Awards, and over the years, we have witnessed the overwhelming support of the Filipino writing community from different generations in the Philippines and overseas. We'd like to acknowledge and commend our judges who generously dedicated their time and expertise in selecting the winners we are honoring today. Let us give our panel of judges a very warm round of applause. We would also like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to Her Excellency Ladutsa Dana Matake, Ambassador of Romania to the Philippines, and her spouse, Mr. Constantine Matake. Attorney Vicente J. Carlos, Consul General of the Republic du Côte d'Ivoire to the Philippines, and his spouse, Madame Cristina Carlos. Mr. Thor Hogg, Counselor of the Kingdom of Norway to the Philippines, and Frank Arne Johansen, First Secretary and Consul of the Kingdom of Norway to the Philippines. We also have, along spouse Madame Julie Aikemo Presto for gracing us tonight in the presence of everyone tonight's awards ceremony. Your support for the Philippine literary community is deeply appreciated. Maraming salamat po. Our program begins with a special presentation dedicated to our national artists for literature. We celebrate their incredible contributions and long legacy of literary excellence that also defines the Palanca Awards. Tonight, we honor the individuals who have helped forge the literary landscape of the Philippines, yet continue to embrace new things to keep the Filipino writing community vibrant and competitive. Please direct your attention to the screen.
Born into humble beginnings, Carlos Palanca Sr. faced many challenges. Lacking a formal education, he overcame adversity through determination and resourcefulness. His story is one of resilience, perseverance, and the belief that hard work can turn dreams into reality. Through hard work, Carlos Palanca Sr. ventured into business, establishing a thriving empire that has lasted through generations. In 1914, Carlos Palanca Sr. recognized the lack of formal educational institutions for the Filipino people, which prompted him to establish the Philippine Chinese Educational Association. During his 15-year presidency, this initiative has paved the way for the establishment of over 100 Chinese schools across Manila in various provinces, leaving a lasting impact on the country's educational landscape. Beyond education, he had a deep appreciation for literature and the arts. He believed that storytelling and creative expression played a vital role in shaping cultural identity and understanding. Throughout his life, he encouraged the development of literature as a means to inspire and empower others. When Carlos Palanca Sr. passed away in 1950, he left behind not only a thriving business but also a legacy of philanthropy and cultural advocacy. His family sought to honor his memory by continuing his commitment to supporting education and literature. In 1950, his heirs established the Carlos Palanca Memorial Awards for Literature. This prestigious award was created to recognize and nurture the talents of Filipino writers, providing them with a platform to share their work and inspire a new generation of literary excellence. The Carlos Palanca Memorial Awards for Literature aims to develop Philippine literature in the following manner: by providing incentives for writers to craft their most outstanding literary works, by being a treasury of the Philippines' literary gems from our gifted writers, and to assist in their eventual dissemination to our people, particularly students. The Palanca Awards continue to honor the best and brightest in Philippine literature while also encouraging the next generation of literary voices. With its long-term vision, the Carlos Palanca Memorial Awards for Literature continues to encourage excellence in writing, serving as a treasury of the Philippines' literary masterpieces. The legacy of Carlos Palanca Sr. lives on through these works, empowering the Filipino spirit and inspiring future writers. Today, as we honor the best and brightest in Philippine literature, we celebrate those whose extraordinary contributions have made them true cultural icons of the nation. The National Artists for Literature. The Order of National Artists, also known as the Orden ng mga Pambansang Alagad ng Sining, recognizes Filipino artists who have left an indelible mark on the country's artistic landscape. Administered by the National Commission for Culture and the Arts and the Cultural Center of the Philippines, the award is bestowed by the President of the Philippines upon the recommendation of these esteemed institutions. The Order of National Artists aim to recognize Filipino artists who have made significant contributions to the cultural heritage of the country, Filipino artistic accomplishments at its highest level, and to promote creative expression as significant to the development of a national cultural identity, and Filipino artists who have dedicated their lives to their work to forge new paths and directions for future generations of Filipino artists. Much like Carlos Palanca's legacy lives on, the following national artists and CPMA awardees have also left us with their remarkable legacies. Let us give our respected peers in literature a round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, our honorary national artists and esteemed colleagues in the Carlos Palanca Memorial Awards for Literature. Amado V. Hernandez, Jose Garcia Villa, Nick M. Joaquim, Carlos P. Romulo, Francisco Q. Arceliana, NVM Gonzalez, Rolando S. Piño, Levi I. Celerio, Edith L. Tiempo, Francisco Sionil Jose, Alejandro R. Roses, Bienvenido L. Lumbera, Lázaro A. Francisco, Cirilo F. Bautista, Ramon L. Muzones, and while we cherish the memory and lasting influence of those who are no longer with us, we also honor and celebrate the national artists for literature who continue to inspire and contribute to our cultural heritage. With respect and honor, we post a few questions to our national artist for literature to share their incredible journey as literary award recipients.
May have the greatest influence would be my poetry, because that's what I did most of the time. I hope it had some influence.
Imagine this probably would be the cultural and historical writings and work in the promotion of regional or local cultures.
Meron akong tatlong gawain na ginawa eh. Una, pagiging bakata. Kalawa, pagiging kritiko. Ikatlo, pagiging pasimuno ng children's book publishing. So, yung tatlo na yung palagay ko ay meron akong kaprasong tagahanga sa buong Pilipinas. Dahil nararamdaman ko, pagka ako'y nakita nila, nakatuon doon yung ang kanilang pansin sa akin. Lalo na limbawa, pagiging makata, ang dami kong libro ng tula eh. So, pero palagi nilang binabanggit sa akin yung aking doktrinang anak pawis, saka yung aking muli sa kandungan ng lupa. Sentimental journey ko pabalik sa Pilipinas. Doon naman sa pagiging kritiko ko, yung balagtasismo versus modernismo, noong 1984. Sa children's book, I think yun ang marami akong nagawa. Dahil ako yung unang talagang pasimuno sa pagtatrabaho tungkol sa children's book.
What is most important for the writer is what is called a strong sense for language. Because it is the sense for language that is the basic creative sense. Note that word creative. No? Any literary work, be it poem, short story, novel, the so-called creative non-fiction, and also play, no? All those kinds of literary work demand from the writer a strong sense for the language that he is using. Yeah. Without that sense, the creation will somehow fail. You know, that's what I want to emphasize here. No matter what it is, short story or poem, you are creating it. No? What do I mean by that? No? A literary work is work of language and work of imagination at the same time. No? You work the language like the farmer tills the soil to produce his crop. That is sense for language. What about work of imagination? As a writer, whatever your short story, whatever your poem, whatever your play, you must imagine it well, because it is the imagination that makes real what your mind apprehends. Writing in Filipino or you're writing Cebuano, you have a mastery of that language. How did you get that sense for language, that mastery? From reading. Not just from conversing with people, because when we converse, whatever word comes to mind, we communicate. Besides, when you are communicating, the way you look, the way you express yourself, no, the person you are communicating to will understand it.
Napansin ko na importante, unang-una, na meron siyang ginawang iba. At yung katangian niya, inahangaan siya ng kanyang mga kapwa makata, kapwa artist, kapwa dancers, kapwa direktor ng pelikula. Kung hindi ganoon, kailangan meron siyang support ng mga tao. Yung madla niya, meron siyang audience.
The first milestone and experience, no, that made me desire to be an artist would be my teachers. No? I will mention them. There's Concepcion Dado Falsa, there's Lourdes Arvizu, there is NVM Gonzalez, yeah, and there is Francisco Arceliana. And by the way, during those times, those teachers were called terror teacher because they demanded so much from the students. But I like them.
And which I suppose would go back to the time when I was still in high school, when I started becoming interested in writing, which I suppose was largely a product of the home environment, because my parents were both public school teachers. So I grew up in a home where learning was prized, but at the same time, I kind of, you know, by just sheer osmosis, you become interested in writing, because my father himself was kind of into, you know, contributing to national magazines with articles and so on. So that, I suppose, would be the beginning. But first, university work. I started out at Suleiman University, where I had a class under Edith Tiempo, National Artist Awardee. But so I had literary interest already, but I was not really writing at that time. Kind of, in a sense, I became seriously involved in writing when I was in my third and fourth year of college at the University of San Carlos, Cebu City, which is my current institution. So I've been hanging out with other campus writers. That's kind of when I really got involved kind of in writing and started publishing short stories in the Philippines Free Press and kind of winning prizes along the way. The longer part of my career, as it were, has been marked by this involvement in literary and cultural studies with a particular emphasis on the regional and the local.
Gusto ko maging manunulat, pero yung tatay ko ayaw kong maging manunulat. Gusto niya maging abogado ako. So pinakuha niya sa akin sa UP ay political science. Umalis ako sa UP, nagturo ako na dahil AB yung aking kinuha, sinabihan ako ng aking eskwela na pinasukan na para ikaw ay maging qualified talaga, kumuha ka ng education units. Pumunta ako sa UE. Nakabarkada ko yung mga writers. Nagsimula akong maging writer sa UE, hindi sa UP. Although, high school pa lang ay talaga nagsusulat na ako. Isang araw, biglang dumating sa aking bahay si Louis Lagdamio. Sabi niya, pwede ka bang maging manager ng book company? Sa lahat naman nakakausap ko, lagi ko tinuturo eh. Napunta naman ako sa Children's Books. Si Louis Lagdamio lang ang pumilit sa akin na magpunta sa Nutrition Center at itayo yung Adarna book, which later on became very, very popular.
I just love writing, no? And so I just continued to write. As to making a significant impact in the field of literature, I was not motivated by that. No, I just love writing, and I work very hard at it. I want my reader to get what I am talking about, no, in the short story or the poem.
Kind of the important thing, I suppose, is like kind of work hard, be free, you know. I think always to be open and free, you know, kind of, there's always something new to learn, you know, kind of, so don't get too close, kind of too enclosed or too wrapped up in a particular advocacy, but always be open to trying new things. I think it's kind of important. Thinking of my own personal experience, I mean, I've always taken writing as a form of learning, meaning kind of, you know, if there's something that you're curious about and you want to learn about it, the best way of learning about it is to write. So writing is always driven by this appetite to learn. And so that's kind of what I feel is at the heart of writing. I mean, you don't write because you already know and you want to tell people what you already know, but the process of writing itself is a process of learning. So there must always be the appetite for learning. I mean, that's something that kind of nourishes one's writing.
Well, ngayon ang aking kampanya, kami nung aking mga kabataang writers na kasama, ay ang slogan namin, ibalik ang tula sa puso ng madla. Ibig sabihin din yan, ibalik ang panitikan, ang sining sa puso ng madla. Dahil ngayon, nakita ko, ang ating panitikan ay malayo. Ang popular na panitikan natin, ibang-iba sa Palanca panitikan. Kailangan hanapin natin kung ano yung formula. Magbabalik uli sa pagmamahal ng tao sa pagtula. Ang palagay ko ngayon, para sa aspiring writers, kailangan nilang magbasa ng kasaysayang mabuti. And then tumulong sila sa paghahanap ng katangian nating mga Pilipino, yun ay tula nila. Para matulungan nila yung madla natin, para makaahon sa kanilang mga maling perspective sa buhay. Ang mahalaga, magkaisa yung lahat ng mga artists. Magkaisa sila para sumulat, lumika, magdrama, magpelikula, ng mga bagay na makakatulong para yung ating mga kababayan ay makaahon sa kanilang kamangmangan, ma-educate sila, mabigyan ng bagong orientation, magkaisa, at mag-isip tungkol sa ating sariling kalayaan, karapatan, at pagsulong bilang isang bansa.
With deepest respect and admiration, we extend our sincerest gratitude to each and every one of you, our renowned national artists for literature and CPMA awardees. Your dedication to your craft, your commitment to truth and beauty, and your relentless pursuit of excellence have elevated Philippine literature to unparalleled heights. Through your words, you have captured the essence of our nation, weaving narratives that resonate with the Filipino spirit and identity. Thank you for your invaluable contribution to Philippine literature, and may your legacy continue to inspire generations to come.
The challenges faced by a creative writer have never been as daunting as today. And yet, it's that very monstrosity of such a myriad of obstacles that may inspire our writers to infuse fresh spirit to the old myths, dreams, visions, and hopes of earlier times to make everything new. So in our own small way, we of the Palanca Foundation, by the grace of God, will continue to offer the opportunity for Filipino writers to be on the side of redemption. Welcome again to a community that seeks nothing but to redeem and preserve the best of what humanity can offer.
Friends, one more round of applause to our living national artists for literature. May we call on stage Mrs. Criselda Dang Cecilio Palanca and Mr. Carlos Palanca IV for the conferment of the special award. As we call your name, please join us on stage for the awarding and the photo opportunity. So first, kindly join us on stage, Dr. Hemino Abad. Jimmy, kindly join us on stage. And the plaque reads, "Natatanging gawad dangal ng lahi, buong pinagpipitaganang ipinararangal kay kagalang-galang Dr. Hemino H. Abad, pambansang alagad ng sining sa panitikan bilang pagpupugay sa inyong pambihira at di matatawarang ambag sa ating komunidad ng mga manunulat na nagbibigay ng inspirasyon sa diwat kamalayan ng lahat. Ang parangal ay pagkilala rin sa inyong natatanging papel sa pagpupunla ng binhi ng kaalaman ng puso't isipan ng mga manunulat na Pilipino na pinamumuhay ang pagnanais na maiangat ang marami sa pamamagitan ng panulat. Pinagkakaloob ngayong ika-23 na Nobyembre 2024 sa Philippine International Convention Center, lungsod ng Pasay, Pilipinas. Warm round of applause, one more for Jimmy Abad. National artist Hemino H. Abad. Thank you and congratulations, Dr. Abad. Now we would like to call on Dr. Virgilio S. Almario. And the plaque reads, "Natatanging gawa dangal ng lahi, buong pinagpipitagan ng pinararangal kay kagalang-galang Dr. Virgilio S. Almario, pambansang alagad ng sining sa panitikan, bilang pagpupugay sa inyong pambihira at di matatawarang ambag sa ating komunidad ng mga manunulat na nagbibigay ng inspirasyon sa diwat kamalayan ng lahat. Ang parangal ay pagkilala rin sa inyong natatanging papel sa pagpupunla ng binhi ng kaalamat puso't isipan ng mga manunulat na Pilipino na ipinamumuhay ang pagnanais na maiangat ang marami sa pamamagitan ng panulat. Pinagkakaloob ngayong 22 na Nobyembre 2024 sa Philippine International Convention Center, lungsod ng Pasay, Pilipinas. Thank you and congratulations, Dr. Virgilio S. Almario. Another warm round of applause, please. Our third recipient, Dr. Resil Mojares, is also joining us tonight via streaming. So maayong gabi, national artist Resil Mojares. To receive the award on her behalf, may we call on stage Ms. Karina Africa Bolasco. And the plaque reads, "Natanging gawad dangal ng lahi, buong pinagpipitagang pinararangal kay kagalang-galang Dr. Resil B. Mojares, pambansang alagad ng sining sa panitikan, bilang pagpupugay sa inyong pambihira at di matatawarang ambag sa ating komunidad ng mga manunulat na nagbibigay ng inspirasyon sa diwat kamalayan ng lahat. Ang parangal ay pagkilala rin sa inyong natatanging papel sa pagpupunla ng binhi ng kaalaman sa puso't isipan ng mga manulat na Pilipino na ipinamumuhay ang pagnanais na may angat ang marami sa pamamagitan ng panulat. Ipinagkakaloob ngayong 22 Nobyembre 2024 sa Philippine International Convention Center, lungsod ng Pasay, Pilipinas. Thank you, Ms. Bolasco. Congratulations. Dagang salamat, National Artist Rasil Mojares. Ladies and gentlemen, let's all take a moment to rise and give a heartfelt round of applause to our national artists for literature. Thank you for your unwavering dedication. Thank you for your passion and creativity. Thank you for giving us literary masterpieces that inspire and uplift the Filipino writing community. Your accomplishments influence not only the current generation of writers, but also those who yet to come. You showcase the riches of our culture and the strength of our storytelling traditions that truly make us proud. You may now take your seats. The full interview with our national artists will be available for viewing on our website, palancaAwards.com.ph, and Facebook account. At this point, please help yourselves to the buffet table located on both sides of the room. We will resume our program shortly after dinner. Maraming salamat po. I hope you all had a lovely dinner. Please note that you are also advised to order your beverages now, as the bar will be closed for the duration of the program. Serving of drinks will resume only after all the awards have been presented. So we will now proceed to the presentation of poems from the collection that won first prize in the categories Poetry Written for Children and Tula para sa mga bata this year. We will first listen to When Born, Jay Gained a Little Force. At 4, Jay discovered empathy. And at 7, Jay became invisible. From the collection Every Year, Jay Gained a Power by Dr. Edgar Calabia Samar. First prize for poetry written for children to be read by Mr. Apollo Abraham. Let's give Sheikh Abraham a very warm round of applause.
Wendell Capili was my professor in UP in 1989 in Com 2. It's a good thing mataas ang grade ko sa kanya. What I lacked in writing skills, I made up for it with humor and charm. But he looks good, doesn't he? I mean, he looks young, right? If you put us together, ako yung mukhang professor dati, siya yung estudyante. He has impeccable genetics. Anyway, like what Sir Wendell said, I will be reading 3 poems from a collection of poems, children's poems, entitled Every Year, Jay Gained a Power by Edgar C. Samar. Why they asked me to do it, I don't know. Maybe the organizers thought that I had a childlike quality or childish, one of those. When born, Jay gained a life force at Amang Rodriguez Hospital. In a bright room, lights all around, I came to the world with a big loud sound. Wah! I cried, oh so proud. Whoosh! Went the air, soft and sweet. Tiny fingers, tiny feet. Like a bird, I felt so neat. Thump, thump. My heart did say. I kicked and wiggled, like to play. Everyone smiled in a special way. Whoosh, whoosh. The breeze did blow, soft and gentle, nice and slow. I made everyone feel aglow. Whir, whir. The world did spin like a happy song from deep within. Made hearts warm, made them begin. Pat, pat on mommy's back. I brought joy like a sunny track. Love and warmth never lack. In that room, with lights so bright, I brought magic, pure delight. Wah! Shh. Sounds just right. Thank you. The next poem is At 4, Jay Discovered Empathy at Marikina Freedom Park. In a park with sun and big tall trees, I found friends and felt the breeze. My heart full of hugs like sunshine bright. I shared a million smiles, felt so right. I heard whispers in the air, laughed and played, showed I care. I danced with joy under trees so high. My giggles flew like birds in the sky. I saw happy leaves and rainy tears. A tiny me with magic ears. I made friends with every step I took in the big wide park like in a book. Butterflies danced as I twirled around. Colors of feelings all around. I giggled with lizards, talked with birds. My words were sweet like happy words. The playground was a dream so bright. My joy was a river in the light. This magic place was just for me, where I learned love wild and free. At 4, my world was full of fun, in a park with smiles for everyone. I walked with wonder, heart so wide. In freedom's hug, I danced and sighed. Thank you. And for the final poem, at 7, Jay became invisible at Marikina Shoe Museum. In a place with shoes that talk, I sneaked around like a cat on a walk. I'm 7 now, feeling so free. Found a new game just for me. The shoes whispered secrets. Shh, don't make a sound. Tiptoe like a mouse. Don't be found. I giggled and tiptoed light as air, hiding in shadows like I wasn't there. Shoes danced and twirled, told stories so old. I slipped through the spaces, feeling so bold. With a blink and a wink in my own little zone, I moved unseen like a breeze softly blown. Some shoes seemed scary. Dark stories they told, owned by a lady whose heart was so cold. They spoke of times filled with fear, but it's not the shoes' fault. I held them near. I walk through this place and let the magic flow. We were just warned, we didn't know. I felt a thrill, my smile so wide, moving so quickly I could hide. As quiet as whispers, as still as a tree, I explored every corner, happy and free. Each shoe was a friend with stories to share. Find your own path. Show you care. This place was mine, a world so grand, with shoes that sing, dreams in my hand. I kept my secret, a joy so bright, a journey of fun hidden from sight. At 7, I knew as shoes softly gleamed, my power was real, more than I dreamed. Thank you. Can we please give a big round of applause to the creator of those poems, Edgar C. Samar. Now, before I leave the stage, I just wanted to say it's an honor for me to be here at this special gathering with all of you great artists. I mean, it's nice to be with fellow artists. You know, all of you creators, we have such an important job, don't we? We have to continue telling the truth. At no point in our history did we need more of you. And hopefully we can uplift the human condition. And on a personal note, if you need actors or voiceover for your plays or films or any of your materials, you can, give me a call. I'm easy to find. I'm online. We'll do lunch, okay? Thanks. God bless you all. Good night. Enjoy the party. I need a drink.
Thanks very much. His name is Sheikh Abraham. So ngayon naman po ay tutungo tayo sa presentasyon ng Kurikong, sa tuktok ng mundo, tuyo na ang lupa, mula sa koleksyong Anak ng Baha, mga tulang pambata ni Ginoong Jun Romeo Leong Son Venturero, unang gantimpala para sa tula para sa mga bata, nababasahin naman ni Profesor Banawe Miklat. Bigyan po natin si Banawe ng masigabong palakpakan.
Maraming salamat, Professor Kapili. Si Professor Kapili po ay isa sa mga matalik na kaibigan ng kapatid kong si Maningning Miklat. At bago ko to basahin, ako rin po, tulad ni Apollo Sheikh Abraham, I'm also available. I'm an actor who's also available for, bookings and things like that, events. Thank you. Muli, ang babasahin ko po ay mula sa koleksyon ng Anak ng Baha, mga tulang pambata ni Ginoong Jun Romeo Leong Son Venturero, unang gantimpala, tula para sa mga bata. Kurikong, sa himig ng pamulinawin. Kurikong namin, saan ka nanggaling? Pag kinamot mo, lalong dumarami. Pag bilang mo 1,100. Oh, kurikong, kailan ka gagaling? Ikaw baha sa amin, kailan ka liliit? Kapag nililimas, bumabalik-balik. Kapag sobrang taas, kala mo'y may swimming. Baha, ay nako, kailan ka titigil? Maraming salamat po. Sa tuktok ng mundo, iniaangat ni tatay mahahalagang bagay para di anurin ng baha. Aming TV, halimbawa, nilalagyan ng paa. Ang ref namin, pinatitingkayad niya. Isinisilid, paboritong damit sa pinakamataas na lalagyan. Kalakip ang aking gamit sa paaralan. Kulang na lang, ilagak sa bubungan, koral ng kanyang panabong huwag lamang mabasa. Samantala kami ni nanay, ipapanhik sa ulap. Wala mang pakpak, ni hindi makalipad. Ipapasan niya sa balikat. Maraming salamat po. Tuyo na ang lupa. Mula sa bubong, lumundag ang pusa. Pabalik sa lungga, karipas ang daga. Sa singit-singit, lumusot ang ipis. Dahil wala nang baha. Sa daan, tumpok-tumpok ang winalis-walis na kalat. Kasama ang inanod-anod, ang nawawalang gamit, lumilitaw lahat sa oras ng paghupa. Sa silong, inaahon, sa araw binibilad, nababad na damit, nalubog na gamit, hanggang makabalik, alimuom sa langit. At kaming nagsilikas, si nanay, si tatay, si ate, si kuya, kasama si Bantay, sa wakas pauwi na. Dahil tuyo na ang lupa. Maraming salamat po. Muli, ito ay mga tula ni Ginoong John Romeo Leongson Venturero, unang gantimpala, tula para sa mga bata. Magandang gabi po.
Maraming salamat, Banawe, Miklat. May we call on our poetry readers once again, Sheikh Abraham and Banawe Miklat, as we invite the authors of the winning collections, Dr. Edgar Calabia Samar and Mr. John Romeo Leongson Venturero, for the recognition. Let's give them a warm round of applause and may we call them on stage to formally take a bow. The authors again, Mr. Samar and Mr. Venturero. Once again, let's give them a very warm round of applause. Marami pong salamat sa inyo. Thank you very much. It is my pleasure now to introduce to you tonight the guest of honor for this 72nd Carlos Palanca Memorial Awards for Literature. Our guest speaker is a multi-awarded Filipino filmmaker and a writer, theater artist whose works explored themes of identity, marginalization, human relationships. His films and plays have captivated audiences and critics alike. His journey began with a passion for education, teaching film, theater, and literature. His career took off with Palanca Award-winning screenplay Mga Bangka sa Tag-Araw, which was later renamed Sa Pusod ng Dagat, starring Jo Marie Iliana. and this was produced and directed by national artist Marilu Diaz-Abaya. And it led to later collaborations with national artist Marilu Diaz-Abaya, acclaimed films like Jose Rizal, Muroami, and Bagong Buwan. Subsequently became creative director of GMA Network's various shows, and he spearheaded top-rated shows that dominated Philippine television. He then co-founded Idea First Company with Percy Talan, a movie studio known for critically and commercially acclaimed films and series. His films graced prestigious film festivals overseas. His recent works include Your Mother's Son, which premiered at the 2023 Toronto International Film Festival, and About Us But Not About Us, which won Best Film at the Tallinn Black Night Film Festival in Estonia in 2022. He previously won Best Director at the same festival for Kalel 15 in 2019. His other notable films include Bacau, Big Night, Die Beautiful, my personal favorite, Barber's Tales. With his fearless approach to filmmaking and dedication to amplifying marginalized voices, he continues to be one of the prime movers of contemporary Philippine cinema. Friends, let us give a very warm round of applause to Jun Robles Lana.
National artist Virgilio Almario, Gemino Abad, Resil Mojares, Romanian Ambassador, Her Excellency Radutsa Danya Matake and her husband, Mr. Constantine Matake, Consul General Vicente Carlos and his wife, Madame Cristina Carlos, Mr. Thor Hogg, Consular of the Norwegian Embassy, Norwegian Consul Mr. Frank Arn Johansen and his wife, Madame Julie Aikemo Presto, fellow Palanca Hall of Famers, and finally, the family that has made tonight possible. Mr. Carlos Palanca IV, Mrs. Silvia Palanca Quirino, Mrs. Griselda Dang Cecilia Palanca, Mrs. Nicole Palanca, Mr. Carl Anthony Palanca, Mr. Chris Palanca, Ms. Angela Palanca. It is a profound honor to have been chosen to speak at this Palanca Awards night. I also welcome it as an opportunity to speak about what I think is the elephant in every room wherever writers, creatives, and makers gather. And now I think we are beyond that time when the controversial question was simply, who do you write for? Neither are we in a place where the question of why do you write could still generate violent disagreements. The white elephant I speak of has to do with the more difficult question of how. How do we write? How do we write in a present context that has changed faster than we thought possible? Not just with technology, but more importantly, with the ways this has changed how we make art and consume culture. How do we write in a present that is constantly shifting, where we now know that our standards may have changed drastically, even from just 2 presidents ago? How do we write in a present that is inundated with data and information? There was a time when we thought this was all we needed to develop our readers and audiences, a time when we imagined that it was the lack of information that was keeping us from a discerning spectatorship. Yet this present has proven us wrong. We now have the information, but how many of us would be able to say that this has meant an exponential growth in our audiences, or that it has meant better conversations about arts and culture in general? How do we write at a time when so many among us cannot tell the difference between information and propaganda, between actual fact and unjustified opinion? Unleashed on social media platforms that we inhabit every day, even facts and data are now points of disagreement and divide. And what of fiction? At a time when lies and false information have become integrated into the daily dose of our algorithms. The person who coined that facts are stranger than fiction could not have seen this present happening in their future. And speaking of the unthinkable becoming real, here's the biggest elephant in the room. How do we write in this present when those that history decided were enemies of democracy, those who clamped down on our creativities, those who censored our thoughts, our films, our writings, could so come back and take the most powerful seat in the land? Who even knew that we would get to a point when historical fact would cease to matter because the fictional, in this case propaganda, is more powerful? In this present, how do we even write? How do we navigate a creative space and cultural industry that is led by people we do not believe in and do not trust, whose beliefs go against our own, and whose actions we stand against? How do we exist here, where the capital that is infused into our work come from the dictators and autocrats that live up the abuse and oppression of all workers, cultural and otherwise? I don't have all the answers, and certainly no answers that will apply to every experience, every kind of creativity. What I can offer is my own how I have navigated my own practice as a writer and director, how I have responded to the shifting cultural political landscape, how I have been able to continue the work that I am passionate for and committed to, and how I hope to be doing this for as long as I can despite conditions that might not be ideal. Which I think is my first answer to the question, how do I write? I struggle. I didn't have the privilege of wealthy parents or connections to help me break into the industry. I was one of the many young filmmakers of my generation that fought over the same set of jobs, and I only hope to get by with every project that fell on my lap. Was this period of my life as a young scriptwriter about my beliefs and politics? Was it about who I trusted and who I believed in? Of course not. For the most part, I was fueled by the idealism of youth and the amount of confidence that was given me by having been mentored by Rene Villanueva. I was fresh out of high school when I met Rene as a participant in his playwriting workshop at the Cultural Center of the Philippines. Rene's plays became my template for good writing. But more than the skills he imparted were the values that he held in high regard. He instilled in me the importance of perseverance, and he taught me to remain steadfast, weather criticism, and see projects through to completion, especially when these resonate deeply with me. I might have been learning firsthand the value of weathering criticism when Rene called me to say that one of my plays, Exodo, which didn't get good feedback from my fellow playwrights at the workshop, had resonated with an audience in Mindanao. He implored me to continue with it. A year later, the play won in a national competition, which would bring me to a life-changing international playwriting convention in Australia. I was 19 years old then. The best thing about my youth, I realize now, was how it predisposed me to humility. In the context of so many other aspiring screenwriters, one has no choice but to set aside pride and admit the need to learn. Which is, of course, another answer to the question, how do I write? I write as an act of humility. To me, there is no other way. And to an extent, joining competitions like the Palanca Awards, putting your film ideas through pitches, sitting down for a workshop, these are all acts of humility. Because you know this can go either way. And you steel yourself for the possibility that you might not be chosen. In my case, the Palanca was not just about winning. It was also about meeting the most generous mentor in Marilu Diaz-Abaya, our national artist for film and broadcast arts. I met Direct Marilu in 1996 on the night of the Palanca Awards. She was the head juror of the screenplay category, and that was the night that changed my life when she handed me her calling card and told me that she was going to produce and direct my Palanca Award-winning screenplay, Mga Bangka sa Tagaraw. A year later, the film, which had been retitled Sa Puso ng Dagat, had its world premiere at the Berlin International Film Festival. I collaborated with Direct Marilu for a few more years, an experience that taught me to love research as an act of pursuing the truth of a story. I worked with her on 3 more films, Jose Rizal, Muraami, and Bagong Buwan, and I was there for every shooting day. This experience taught me what might be the most valuable lesson Direk Marilu could teach me: a work ethic and discipline that is able to remain calm and unaffected by the inherent chaos of filmmaking. Between Rene Villanueva and Marilu Diaz-Abaya, it might seem that I had a lucky streak from the moment I graduated from college. This couldn't be more false. In fact, between Direk Marilu and Rene, there was just me, a fresh graduate, living up project to project and hustling to string together enough scripts, pitches, and treatments to support my family. It was a constant juggling act, a never-ending battle between creative passion and financial reality. Writing, and we all know this after all, is largely a gig economy, always at the mercy of the next job. But in the mid-90s, a fantastic opportunity came my way. A friend called to say that a major studio was looking for fresh voices to write mainstream genres for primetime television. As this was a ratings game, the producers wanted familiar stories that audiences loved, but they also sought to infuse them with a unique perspective. To my delight, after submitting my sample work, I was immediately commissioned for a project. And then I learned something surprising. The producing team involved someone unexpected, a member of that family, the one that had recently returned from exile after their dramatic fall from power. Did I care at all that I was working with a member of that family? At best, there might have been a tiny voice in the back of my head reminding me of all the stories about them, about what they had done to our nation, about what was achieved by the 1986 EDSA revolution. Yet the young me was driven by a stronger force, the need to create. Those early teleplays were not just a paycheck. They were a crucible that forged my skills and ignited my passion for storytelling, the foundation upon which I built my screenwriting career. That this might have been one of the many cultural political projects that family embarked on upon the return to the Philippines, one of the many things they did to slowly but surely cement their 2022 return to the office, is of course the reason I speak of it now. And this is not to wash my hands of a decision I made in my youth. Instead, it is to hold myself accountable. Because I've often wondered if those TV scripts I had written for them during a time of personal struggle unknowingly played a part in shaping this present, where a fallen dictator's family is back in power. The writer's journey is a treacherous one. We navigate a sea of doubt, constantly questioning our choices and motivations. This struggle, however, also fuels our creativity and drives us to seek deeper truths. The works I have produced since then are a reflection of that journey, one that is hopefully characterized by constant growth and evolution. And it is through this ongoing process that I continue to hold myself accountable. In the course of my filmmaking career, I have found a keen interest in making films that continue the conversation about the abusers among us and how we as a country tend towards forgiveness and forgetting. I do these films consciously and deliberately, with due respect to an audience that I trust will understand why these films need to be made and what it hopes to remind us about ourselves. Barber's Tales, a film I made in 2013, dealt with corrupt fascist leaders that lord over provincial communities removed from the gaze of the center. More than that, it was about how a woman could rise as a central figure in the community, a woman who sees how violence is built into our local politics, a system controlled by the powerful, the wealthy, the dynasties, and in that moment, she finds her purpose. Big Night, released in 2021, was a direct response to the previous administration's drug war. It tackled those questionable lists of drug suspects, people who could end up dead at any time. The story follows a queer parlorista as she fights to clear her name from a drug suspect list, a list that could mean life or death. I wanted to show how this abuse goes in circles, how it feeds on itself, and how it preys on the vulnerability of the poor, those who have the least power against those who have the most, even at the local level in our own barangays. Perhaps different from these two, but which needs to be mentioned, is my experience doing Your Mother's Son. A complex tale of abuse of power as it exists within what on the surface is a maternal relationship. With Your Mother's Son, I wanted to discuss the complexity of our relationship with our abusers, likening it to a toxic dynamic where we become complicit in our own abuse. Finished in 2023, a point of interest, at least for me as its writer and director, was the agonizing decision to remove a certain scene from the Philippine version of the film. It was a powerful and triggering scene with the characters mocking prominent politicians, but it was also a gamble. While not essential to the plot, it added a subversive tone to the film. But with the political climate as it was, we were just coming from a fascist regime and now we were grappling with the new leadership. I knew it could put everyone in danger and potentially mean the end of the film before it even began. The decision to excise that scene was a painful one and laid bare the constant internal struggle I face as a storyteller. The desire to protect my vision versus the responsibility to safeguard my team. It's a conflict that haunts me daily, a challenge faced by every storyteller who dares to speak truth to power in these complicated times. Barber's Tales, Big Night, and Your Mother's Son are just some of my films that stand for my continued negotiation with the specter of tyranny, dictatorship, and abuse. These forces loom large not just in our political lives, but in our culture as well. It goes without saying that we have had no choice but to live with this kind of violence in this context. But what we need to constantly ask is how we respond to the state of affairs. Others choose to disengage, while others choose to critique. I choose to write stories and create films that force us into engagement and teach audiences to be critical, and which might be a mirror we can hold up to ourselves and our relationship with power and wealth. Which brings me to another answer to the question, how do I write in the present? I accept that there is no one way of dealing with the more powerful and wealthy among us. There is no list of recommended ways to get out of an abusive relationship after all. And neither is there a prescription that will make us well while we are in that relationship. Instead, what I know for sure is that we navigate this in various ways. Ideally, making decisions thoughtfully and deliberately to ensure we create not for but against the powers that be. Because this is another answer to the question, how do I write? I do so by seeing and placing myself in opposition to the money and power that invest in arts and culture. I do not disengage from cultural institutions or big capitalists interested in making films. I engage consciously and cautiously, always placing myself in a position where my creativity is given space and my cultural labor is respected. This is, of course, a privilege, one that I've earned in my years as a writer and filmmaker. But it's also something I've earned because I've continued. I have remained committed to the lifelong journey of storytelling to explore the human condition and challenge the status quo. And I'm grateful for every step of the way. And maybe this is the other answer I want to leave you with in response to the question, how do I write in this present? I write regardless, despite, and no matter what. I struggle and push. I negotiate and engage. I hold myself accountable. I take up space. And maybe that is at best what I can hope for all of you here tonight, and for all young writers, creatives, and culture workers beyond this room, that you will just always have it in you to continue. Regardless of personal choices made in your youth, the work that got negative reviews, the difficulty of getting that foot into that all-important door. And finally, here's to hoping that we all find it in ourselves to talk about the elephants that weigh down every room. Because that is another way to answer the question, how do you write in this present? We write by breaking the silence and giving voice to the voiceless, to those who have been marginalized and forgotten, those who struggle in the shadows, unseen and unheard. We write by illuminating stories that would otherwise be kept in the dark, no matter how challenging, no matter how uncomfortable, because those stories are the ones that will shape our future. Thank you.
Thanks very much, June. Please remain on stage as we proceed to the Waring Dagawa Dangal ng Lahi. May we request Mrs. Criselda Dang Cecilio Palanca and Mr. Carlos Palanca IV to join Mr. Lana on stage. Dagawa Dangal ng Lahi is given by the Carlos Palanca Memorial Awards for Literature to honor those who have excelled prominently in their fields of expertise and have aptly become role models for the Filipino citizenry. This award recognizes individuals who share with writers the common thread of manifesting belief in the capabilities of the Filipino and expressing their pride in the heritage of the Philippines. And the plaque reads, Gawa Dangal ng Lahi, buong pagpipitagagang pinararangal kay kagalang-galang Jun Robles Lana, tanda ng taus-pusong pasasalamat sa pagpupunla ng mga ginuntuang diwa sa puso at mayamang kamalayan ng mga manunulat na Filipino. So we'd like to request Mrs. Dang Cecilio Palanca to hand over the plaque, and Mr. Palanca will put on the medallion on Mr. Jun Lana. So thank you very much to our presenters, and congratulations once again to our Gawa Dangal ng Lahi awardee, Jun Robles Lana. And on that note, we'd like to call on stage once again Carlos Palanca Memorial Awards for Literature Representative Mrs. Criselda Dang Cecilio Palanca to deliver a message from the sponsor. Let's give her a very warm round of applause.
Good evening. Our guest of honor and keynote speaker, Mr. Jun Robles Lana, National Artists for Literature, Virgilio S. Almario, Gemino Abad, Resil B. Mojares, who is joining us virtually, Palanca Hall of Famers, Dr. Jose Butch Dalisay Jr., Mr. Alfred Crip Yuson, Dr. Luis Gatmaitan, Attorney Nicolas Pichay, Mr. Jun Robles Lana, Dr. Reuel Molina Aguila, Mr. Peter Solis Neri, distinguished judges, awardees, guests, ladies and gentlemen. We also extend our heartfelt gratitude to our guest diplomats for gracing us with their presence tonight's award. Your support for the Philippine literary community is deeply appreciated. Welcome to the 72nd awarding ceremonies of the Carlos Palanca Memorial Awards for Literature. As we had done last year, we conduct tonight's celebration here at this historical venue that is the Philippine International Convention Center to continue observing our Philippine Historical Series. And once again, we heartily welcome the first-time winners in our traditional annual contest, for whom this special rite of passage will be of memorable significance. It will also be so for our new set of Palanca Hall of Famers. All four who achieved the single honor of each gaining their fifth first prize, the largest set since we initiated this special tribute, pushing up the hallowed number to 30 over these past 72 years. Their continuing efforts mark the most outstanding accomplishments in pushing the envelope and exemplifying excellence in Philippine literature. For the 2024 CPMA, the total number of entries reached a historic high of 1,823. In 22 categories as overseen by 63 judges, resulting in 60 winning works by 54 authors. There were 31 new winners and 23 former winners, 41 male and 13 female. 5 of the winners were aged 20 and under, with 13 in the age bracket of 21 to 30, 15 in the age bracket of 31 to 40, and 14 in the age group of 41 to 50. 4 winners were from 51 to 60 years old, while there were 3 winners who were from 61 to 70 years of age. Our oldest winner, male, is 78 years old. And our youngest winner is a female, only 14 years old. Since 1951, there have been 2,580 winning authors, with a total of 2,677 winning works. This remarkable and ever-growing collection over 7 decades should mark a telling point amid the welter of arguments as to the continuing worth of the Carlos Palanca Memorial Awards for Literature. Without having to intersect with any viewpoints, we simply acknowledge the natural progression of these views on literary competitions and their continuing influence. The fact is that on its 72nd year, the Palanca tradition approaches a number that is more venerable than the age of this year's oldest competitor. With social media and digital platforms fast-tracked to give way to unfettered personal expression, writers have similar opportunities to join the exponential spread of arguments. But any contentions as to the worth of literary competitions are equaled by familiar themes that cheer us on: family and its strength of nuances, the preservation of harmony, and the music created by our environment and imagination. Affiliations and aspirations are mirrored in all genres of literature, whether writing about anxiety or equipoise. The writer can select from the universal themes that drew attention in the past, paint pictures of the present, or imagine the future. By focusing on comparative values of resilience, resonance, and rhetoric, writers can fend off reality or enrich it with more embellishments of entertainment, humor, drama, or contemplation. Going by the treasures collected in 7 decades of the Palanca Awards, Filipino writers of all generations have shown that we can keep pace with any seasonal shapes of realignment. There can never be any excess of insights. Whatever contour of thought expressed impeccably is a valid venture towards self-knowledge. More often than not, this involves eventual harmony of community. Thus, the Palanca Foundation continues to offer gifts of opportunities for Filipino writers to join the plenitude of tradition. Since 1951, creating invaluable literature in response to the challenges of contemporary life also advances personal growth. With the Palanca Awards, originality of imagination will always find new ways of taking the side of humanity, with empathy eventually guiding readers forward towards enlightenment. In several languages, our writers' voices then join the concert of faith, even in a world gone unruly or questionable. With that said, we find ourselves in the 72nd year of Al Palanca Journey of Faith, one that began in a simpler, more innocent age. That was the 50s, when the last World War had ended and recovery, self-determination, and even prosperity lay ahead. When religion still underpinned our culture and traditions as the first and longest-standing Christian nation in our part of the world. When evil was clearly evil and good, as our God defined it, was unquestionably good. But our present world is more dazzling, bewildering, deceptive, increasingly seductive with moral relativism and secular humanism. When truth and reality get confused with artificial intelligence. When people everywhere are better traveled and informed or misinformed than at any time in history. The Old Testament prophet Daniel wrote 2,600 years ago, "Until the time of the end, many will roam to and fro, and knowledge will increase." These words are a reminder that the ideas, values, and opinions we publish now have the potential to warn, transform, prepare, and enlighten our readers in the future. As we honor our record-breaking number of Hall of Famers this year, may we look forward to a thrilling future accolade, the applause of heaven and reward of immortality. Daniel also wrote that in the coming millennial age, the wise will shine like the brightness of the heavens, and those who lead many to righteousness will shine like the stars forever and ever. One individual claimed to be the embodiment of that righteousness and the only means to achieve it, Jesus Christ, Son of God. He paid with his life to be able to say, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me." And he made sure every generation that read his book would get that crucial message. "Heaven and earth will pass away," Jesus declared, "but my words shall not pass away." So, for all our honored writers here tonight, may your lives and your masterpieces be infused with eternal value, far beyond the earthly acclaim of a venerable Palanca Award. Congratulations, winners, and an advance Merry Christmas to all. Once again, welcome to our inspiring feast of redeeming spirit. Thank you all, and God bless us.
Maraming salamat, Mrs. Criselda, Dang Cecilio Palanca. And now we are ready to introduce the judges who accepted the arduous task of anonymously evaluating the submissions to the 72nd Carlos Palanca Memorial Awards for Literature. This year, we have received a total of 1,823 entries in all 22 categories. the organizer of the Palanca Awards handpicked 63 literary luminaries who have made significant contributions in their respective fields to help determine which entries merit the much coveted Palanca Awards. May I request each judge to please stand when your name is called for proper recognition. And we may also ask the audience to reserve your response, your applause, until all judges have been named. So first, we go to the judges for the Filipino division. Para sa nobela, Tagapangulo, Dr. Alan Alberto Enderain. Dr. Genevieve L. Asenjo, Kagawad. Dr. Vim Nadera, Kagawad. Para sa maikling kwento, Dr. Maria Milagros Carrion Laurel, Tagapangulo. Dr. Isabel D. Sebulien, Kagawad. Binibining Beverly Wico C., Kagawad. Para sa maikling kwentong pambata, Profesor Glenda C. Oris, Tagapangulo. Ginoong Ogie Rivera, Kagawad. At Dr. Lalaine F. Yanilia Aquino, Kagawad. Para sa sanaysay, Dr. Wendell Capili, Tagapangulo, Dr. Adelaida Figueras Lucero, Kagawad, at Profesor Dr. Marco A. V. Lopez, Kagawad. Para sa tula, Ginoong Niles Jordan Brace, Tagapangulo, Dr. Alan Popa, Kagawad, at Dr. Mesandel V. Arguelles, Kagawad. Para sa tula, para sa mga bata, Dr. Joselito D. De Los Reyes, Tagapangulo, Binibining Ina S. Reyes, Kagawad, at Ginoong VJ.O. Arquisola, Kagawad. Para sa dulang may isang yugto, Dr. Ruel Molina Aguila, Tagapangulo, Dr. Alexander C. Cortez, Kagawad, at Ginoong Elmer L. Gatchalian, Kagawad. Para sa dulang may ganap ang haba, Profesor Dexter M. Santos, Tagapangulo, Profesor Banawe C. Miklat, Kagawad, at Dr. Layeta P. Bukoy, who came all the way from UP Los Baños, Kagawad. Para sa dulang pampelikula, Ginoong Mark Mayley, Tagapangulo, Ginoong Adolfo B. Alex Jr., Kagawad, Ginoong Chris Martinez, Kagawad. Judges for the English Division. For the novel, Professor Danton Remoto, Chairperson. Miss Maria Felix, Member. And Professor Ralph Semino Galan, Member. For short story, Mr. Dean Francis Alfar, Chairperson. Dr. Augusto Antonio A. Aguila, Member. Dr. Clarissa V. Militante, Member. For short story for children, Ms. Tari Subido, Chairperson. Professor Rolando S. De La Cruz, Member. Professor Maria Siquia Felix, Member. For the essay, Attorney Nicolas B. Pichay, Chairperson. Dr. Dina T. Roma, Member. And Ms. Emily Altomonte Abrera, Member. For poetry, Mr. Rui S. De Vera, Chairperson. Mr. Juanillo Arceliana, Member. And Dr. Cesar Ruiz Aquino, Member. For poetry written for children, Ms. Penny de Los Angeles Bautista, Chairperson. Mr. Chris Lanot Lacaba, Member. And Professor Ramon C. Sunico, Member. For one-act play, Cultural Center of the Philippines Vice President Dennis Marasigan, Chairperson. Dr. Joy Barrios Leblanc, Member. And Mr. Edward D. Cabagnot, Member. For full-length play, Mr. Bart Gingona, Chairperson. Mr. Frank G. Rivera, Member. And Dr. Jose Victor Z. Torres, Member. Judges for the Regional Languages Division are, for short story Cebuano, Dr. Christine Godinez Ortega, Chairperson. Professor Lilia Tio, Member. And Ms. Civilin Jo A. Almanzor, Member. For short story in Hiligaynon, Dr. John Eremil Chodoro, Chairperson. Dr. Cora D. Villarreal, Member. And Dr. John E. Barrios, Member. For short story Ilocano, Mr. Joel B. Manuel, Chairperson. Dr. Romulo P. Bakiran, member. And Mr. Ariel Sotelo Tabag, member. Judges for the Kabataan Division, Professor Lilibet Oblena Kiore, chairperson. Dr. Joaquim Emilio Antonio, member. And Ms. Miro Francis D. Capili, member. Let us give our judges in this year's competition a big round of applause. Their hard work and dedication ensure that we'll be giving due credit and recognition to literary prodigies and contribute to the cultivation and proliferation of Philippine literature. And now the moment we've all been waiting for, we will proceed to the awarding of the winners of the 72nd Carlos Palanca Memorial Awards for Literature. But before that, guests are reminded that our program is being live streamed. As such, only our official photographer is allowed near the stage from this point. And if you wish to take pictures, please take your position at the back of our photographers and our live stream cameras. Thank you very much. May we now request the organizers and the panel of judges for each category to join us on stage during the presentation of the awards as I call on you. May we kindly request all the winners from each category to proceed to the right side of the hall, near the stage, and line up prior to the announcement of your name based on the program. Your cooperation is greatly appreciated. And may we also ask all the winners to remain after the ceremony for the photo opportunity with the sponsors and our media partners. So thank you very much. For the Kabataan Division, before that, we'd like to call on Mr. Carl Palanca, Mrs. Dang Cecilio Palanca to kindly join us on stage, and Mrs. Nemi Bermejo, and Mrs. Nicole Palanca to join us on stage. Okay, so I repeat, we would like to call on Mr. Carl Palanca, Ms. Nicole Palanca, and Mrs. Nemi Bermejo to kindly join us on stage. We'll be beginning with the winners in the Kabataan Division. The panel of judges of the Kabataan Division is requested to come up on stage. Professor Lilibet Oblena Kione, Ms. Miro Francis D. Capili, and Dr. Joaquim Emilio Antonio kindly join us on stage with Ms. Anne Nicole Palanca, Mr. Carl Anthony B. S. Palanca, and Mrs. Nemesha Bermejo for the presentation of the awards. Established in 1998, the Kabataan category provides an opportunity for the country's youth to develop and hone their writing skills, thereby involving them in the shaping of Philippine literature. This year's theme is lubhang naimpluwensyahan ang mga kabataan ngayon ng pag-unlad ng teknolohiya ng social media at AI. Paano matutulungan ng pamahalaan at mga pamilya ang mga kabataan na pagyamanin ang kakayahan nitong magdulot ng pagbabago habang nilulupig ang mga kaakibat na panganib sa kanilang pagbabaybay sa digital na mundo. For the Kabataan Essay. And for the Kabataan Essay in English, today's youth are deeply influenced by technological advancements in social media and AI. How can government and families help the youth harness its transformative potential while mitigating inherent risks as they navigate the digital landscape? So may we request the winners to come up on stage and as you receive your prize once your name is called. Kabataan, Sanaysay. Ang nagwagi na ikatlong gantimpala ay si Ginoong Lancelot MJT Edilior para sa akdang Bura Sulat. Ang nagwagi na ikalawang gantimpala ay si Binibining Raya T. Mitra para sa Sinulid at Buhay. At ang nagwagi ng unang gantimpala ay si Binibining Glorious Zahara Excellency Alesna para sa Dito sa Kanlungan ng Hirayat Katotohanan. Ang aming malugod na pagbati sa mga nanalo sa kategoryang Kabataan sa Naysay. Dapat wag ka umalis muna sapagkat Miss Gloria Zahara Excellency Alesna, you won the third prize for Kabataan Essay for Some Things Must Never Change. The second prize is awarded to Miss Ruth Mecanel Magolhado for My Humanly Unhuman Friend. And the first prize is awarded to Mr. Brant Angelo S. Ambes for the Digital Snowball. Congratulations to all the winners in the Kabataan Division. Dumako naman po tayo ngayon sa mga nanalo sa sangay ng Filipino para sa mga regular na kategorya. Sisimulan po natin ang pagbibigay ng parangal para sa mga nanalo sa maikling kwento. Inaniniyahan po natin sa entablado ang lupon ng mga hurado sa kategoryang ito na sina Dr. Maria Milagros C. Laurel, Dr. Isabel D. Cebulien at sa binibining Beverly Wico C. Ang nagwagi ng ikatlong gantimpala para sa maikling kwento ay si binibining Aljane C. Baterna para sa Ang Lungga. Ang nawagi naman po ng ikalawang gantimpala ay si binibining Hana A. Lesenia para sa Siya, Cyril. At ang nawagi ng unang gantimpala ay si Professor Mark Anthony Angeles para sa kanyang akdang pinamagatang Gagambang Bahay. Ang aming malugod na pagbati sa mga nanalo sa kategoryang Maikling Kwento. Inanyahan naman po natin sa entablado ang mga huradong sina Professor Glenda C. Oris, Ginoong Ogie Rivera at Dr. Lalaine F. Yanilla Aquino. Para sa maikling kwentong pambata, ang nagbigay ng ikatlong gantimpala ay si Ginoong John Patrick F. Solano para sa Atang para sa Nanang Toyang. Ang nagwagi ng ikalawang gantimpala ay si Ginoong Brian James S. Kamaya para sa si Bambalito, ang batang bayani ng Bangkusay. Ang nagwagi ng unang gantimpala ay si Ginoong Christopher S. Rosales para sa kanyang akdang pinamatang Musikong Bungbong. Ang aming malugod na pagbati sa mga nanalo sa kategoryang maikling kwentong pambata. Dadako naman po tayo sa kategoryang sanaysay. Tinatawagan ko po ang mga kapwa kong hurado, sina Dr. Adelaida F. Lucero at Dr. Marco A.V. Lopez. Para sa sanaysayan, nagwagi na ikatlong gantimpala ay si Binibining Adele Lizel Chua para sa Love Child. Ang nagwagi naman ng ikalawang gantimpala ay si Dr. David R. Corpus para sa Autoetnograpiyang Luksa. At ang nagwagi ng unang gantimpala ay si Ginoong Tomas F. Agulto para sa kanyang obra ng pinamangatang Tulambuhay ng Isang Makatang Laway. Hindi po siya usually uma-attend pero ngayong taon na-attend po siya. Ilang dekada po na po ang nakaraan mula nung siya po ay huling tumanggap ng Palanca Award. Ang aming malugod na pagbati sa mga nanalo sa kategoryang sanaysay led by Ginoong Tomas F. Agulto. Para po sa tula, tinatawagan po natin ang mga huradong sina Ginoong Niles Jordan Brace, Dr. Alan C. Popa, at Dr. Mesandel V. Arguelles. Ang nagwagi ng ikatlong gantimpala ay si Ginoong John Brixter M. Tino para sa Dugo ng Aking Dugo. Ang nagwagi naman ng ikalawang gantimpala ay si Ginoong John Dave B. Pacheco para sa paa, tuhod, balikat ng tagakaulo, igatang sa pangil ng panapanahong pagkalugmok. At ang nagwagi ng unang gantimpala ay si Ginoong Micael de Lara Co para sa kanyang koleksyong pinangmatang Panayam sa Abo. Ang aming malugod na pagbati sa mga nanalo sa kategoryang tula. Para sa tula para sa mga bata, tinatawagan po natin ang mga huradong sila Dr. Joselito de los Reyes, Binibining Ina S. Reyes at Ginoong VJ O. Alquisola. Ang nagwagi ng ikatlong gantimpala ay si Ginoong Eros Sanchez Atalia para sa Add to Cart at iba pang mga tula. Ang nagwagi naman po ng ikalawang gantimpala ay si Ginoong John Michael G. Londres para sa Saklolo, Truck ng Bumbero. Ang tatanggap po ng kanyang parangal ay si Binibining Judy Ann Tronsal. Para sa tula, para sa mga bata, ang nagwagi ng unang gantimpala ay si Ginoong John Romeo Leongson Venturero para sa kanyang obrang pinangmatang Anak ng Baha, Mga Tulang Pambata. Ang aming malugod na pagbati sa mga nanalo sa kategoryang tula para sa mga bata. Para sa dulang may isang yugto, tinatawagan po natin ang mga huradong sina Dr. Ruel Molina Aguila, Dr. Alexander C. Cortez at Ginoong Elmer L. Gatchalian. Ang nagwagi ng ikatlong gantimpala ay si Ginoong Profesor U.Z. Eliserio para sa trahedya ni Bert. Ang nagwagi ng ikalawang gantimpala ay si Ginoong Hans Peter Luyon Araw para sa Vengeance of the Gods. At ang nagwagi ng unang gantimpala ay si Ginoong Joshua Limso para sa kanyang obrang pinabatang Pagkapit sa Hangin. Ang aming malugod na pagbati sa mga nanalo sa kategoryang Dulang May Isang Yugto. Para sa Dulang Ganap ang Haba, tinatawagan po natin ang mga huradong sina Ginoong Dexter M. Santos, Profesor Banawe C. Miklat at Dr. Layeta P. Bukoy. Ang nagwagi ng ikatlong gantimpala ay si Ginoong Andrew Aquino Estacio para sa Ka Amado. Ang nagwagi ng ikalawang gantimpala ay si Ginoong Miguel Antonio Alfredo V. Luarca para sa Ador. Wala pong nagwagi ng unang gantimpala para sa kategoryang Dulang May Ganap ang Haba. Ang aming malugod na pagbati sa mga nanalo sa kategoryang Dulang May Ganap ang Haba. Para sa Dulang Pampelikula, tinatawagan ko po ang mga huradong sina Ginoong Mark Mayley, Ginoong Adolfo B. Alex Jr. at Ginoong Chris Martinez. Ang nagwagi ng ikatlong gantimpala ay si Ginoong Rian J. Hernandez para sa Double. Ang kanyang gantimpala ay tatanggapin ng kanyang kapatid na si Atty. Numeriano Hernandez Jr. Ang nagwagi ng ikalawang gantimpala ay si Ginoong Raymond T. Barcelon para sa Paglilitis. At ang nagwagi ng unang gantimpala ay si Ginoong Andrew Bonifacio L. Clete para sa kanyang obrang pinamagatang championship. Ang aming malugod na pagbati sa lahat ng mga nanalo sa kategoryang dulang pampelikula. We proceed to the awarding of prizes in the Regional Languages Division. May we ask the panels of judges under the Regional Languages Division to stand by for the awarding of prizes. We will start with short story Cebuano when we call on stage judges Dr. Christine Godinez Ortega, Professor Lilia Tio, and Miss Silveline Joe Almazor to join us on stage. The third prize is awarded to Miss Gracelda Ailina for Maninibya. The second prize is awarded to Mr. Reynaldo A. Caturza for Anino. And the first prize is awarded to Mr. Michael Aaron Gomez for his masterwork entitled Pamalandong ni Antigo Mocayat. For short story, Hiligay Non, may we call on the judges, Dr. John Iremili Teodoro, Dr. Corazon D. Villarreal, and Dr. John E. Barrios. The third prize is awarded to Mr. Al Jeffrey L. Gonzalez for Anagas Anagas Bailo Tangalan. The second prize is awarded to Mr. Brian Marie Argos for Labo. And the first prize is awarded to Mr. Serafin I. Plotria Jr. for his masterwork titled Ang Liwat nga Paglupad ni Lolo. For short story Ilocano, may we call on the judges, Mr. Joel B. Manuel, Dr. Romulo P. Bakiran, and Mr. Ariel Sotelo Tabag. The third prize is awarded to Mr. Brody Garpadios for Aniniwan. His award will be accepted by his representative, Mr. Dionisio S. Bulong, himself an award-winning Ilocano writer. The second prize is awarded to Miss Maria Lourdes Ladi Opinaldo for Uram. And the first prize is awarded to Mr. Neo E. Valdez for his masterwork titled Panagawid. Congratulations to all the winners in the Regional Languages Division. It is time to proceed to the categories that fall under English Division. May we ask the panels of judges under English Division to stand by for the awarding of prizes. We will begin with the short story category. For short story, may we call on stage the judges Mr. Dean Francis Alfar, Dr. Augusto Antonio A. Aguila, and Dr. Clarissa V. Militante. The third prize is awarded to Mr. Kiefer Adrian Z. Oxenio for Be Happy. The second prize is awarded to Mr. Antonio Hernandez for The Man Who Sold Dignity. Mr. Hernandez has been based in Sydney, Australia for the past few years. Accepting the award on his behalf is Mr. Don Bermejo. And the first prize is awarded to newly appointed Department of Education Director, Mr. Jan Kevin F. Rivera for his masterpiece, Muted City. He's the new director overseeing the public affairs programs of the Department of Education. Congratulations to all the winners in the short story category. For short story for children, may we call on stage the judges, Ms. Terry Sabido, Professor Rolando S. de la Cruz, and Professor Marisa Siquia Felix. The third prize is awarded to Dr. Edgar Calabia Samar for A Young Poet Dreams of 100 Words That Rhyme with Maynila. May I put it on record that he actually joined the Palanca Awards this year to raise money for his new condo. He's refurbishing it with new appliances and furniture. There is no second and first prize winners in the short story for children category. Congratulations to the sole winner, Dr. Edgar Calabia Samar, in the short story for children category. We move on to the essay category. We call on the judges, Attorney Nicolas B. Pichay, Ms. Emily Abrera, and Dr. Dina T. Roma. The third prize is awarded to Mr. Jade Mark B. Capinanes for A Personal History of Sea Urchins. The second prize is awarded to Miss Cara Danielle Erania Medina for Another Hope Entirely. And the first prize is awarded to Ms. Lioba Asia E. Piluden for her masterpiece, Ghost Hunting in Sagada. Congratulations to all the winners in the essay category. For poetry, may we call on stage the judges, Mr. Ruel S. De Vera, Mr. Juanillo Alteliana, and Dr. Cesar Ruiz Aquino. Dr. Cesar Ruiz Aquino is watching us virtually. He's based in Dumaguete City. The third prize is awarded to Miss Ana Maria Segunda Katigbak La Cuesta for We Are Not Yet Lost. Congratulations, Mookie. The second prize is awarded to Mr. Lee Gerard Sison Villanueva for La Muerte de la Luz. And the first prize is awarded to Professor Joel M. Toledo for his masterpiece collection, Silangan. Congratulations to all the winners in the poetry category. For poetry written for children, may we call on stage the judges, Miss Fenny de Los Angeles Bautista, Mr. Chris Lanot Lacaba, and Professor Ramon C. Sunico. The third prize is awarded to Mr. Peter Solis Neri for 13 ways of looking at books. The second prize is awarded to Miss Stacy Haney Bolislis Aison for Where Are the Dinosaurs? And the first prize is awarded to, for the repair of his condominium unit, Dr. Edgar Calabia Samar for Every Year Jay Gained the Power. Congratulations to all the winners in the Poetry Written for Children category. For one-act play, may we call on stage the judges, CCP Vice President Mr. Dennis Marasigan, Mr. Edward D. Cabagnot. The third judge, Dr. Joy Barrios Leblanc, is based at the University of California at Berkeley and is watching us virtually. The third prize is awarded to Mr. Kenneth Theodore Cheng Kang for Line Up. And accepting the award for his behalf is his father-in-law, Attorney Kenneth Cheng. The second prize is awarded to Mr. Miguel Antonio Alfredo V. Luarca for The Impossible Dream. And the first prize is awarded to Mr. L.J. Castro del Doc for his masterpiece Unidentified. Congratulations to all the winners in the one-act play category. For full-length play, may we call on the judges, Mr. Bart Gingona, Director Frank G. Rivera, and Dr. Jose Victor Z. Torres. The third prize is awarded to Mr. Emilio Antonio Babao Gubalya for the Echoist. Of course, we all know that Mr. Babao Gubalya is the son of a famous writer and the grandson of the legendary Filipino veteran actress Caridad Sanchez. The second prize is awarded to prize-winning filmmaker and screenwriter Mr. Dustin Edward D. Celestino for Birdie. And the first prize is awarded to Mr. Miguel Antonio Alfredo V. Luarca for his masterpiece, Corridors. Congratulations to the winners in the full-length play category. And finally, we arrive at the grand prizes this evening for the novel and novela categories. Para sa nobela, tinatawagan po natin ang mga huradong sina Dr. Alan Alberto Enderain, Dr. Genevieve Asenjo, at Dr. Vim Nadera. Umakyat po sila para sabihin ko pong wala pong nanalo, wala pong nagawagi sa natatanging gantimpala para sa kategoryang nobela. Ngunit, ang nagawagi ng pangunahing gantimpala ay si Ginoong Professor Eros Sanchez Atalia para sa kanyang nobelang pinamagatang 30 Virgins. For some of you may not have remembered that he wrote several screenplays or stories, became films, and one of them was Ligo na Yu Lapit na Mi. Siya po yun. ang aming malugod na pagbati sa nag-iisang nanalo sa kategoryang nobela. For novel, may we call on stage Professor Danton Emoto, who flew all the way from Cebu just to be here tonight, Miss Maria Fres Felix, and Professor Ralph Semino Galan to kindly join us on stage. The special prize is awarded to Michael Aaron Gomez for his novel, The People's Republic of Negros. Michael Aaron Gomez flew all the way from Darwin in Negros Oriental near Apo Island, near Dumaguete, just to be here tonight. The grand prize is awarded to UP English Department faculty member Ms. Lacan D. Umali for a masterpiece entitled The Ferdinand Project. If I'm not mistaken, this is your first time to join and first time to win. So congratulations, Lacan D. Umali, for the masterpiece Ferdinand Project. Congratulations to all the winners in the novel category. Thank you, awardees, judges, and honorable presenters. So before we move on to the next category, ladies and gentlemen, the winners of the 72nd Carlos Palanca Memorial Awards for Literature. Congratulations to all of you. And now, the moment we've all been waiting for, the highlight of tonight's event. It's a rare opportunity for us to award not just one, not just two, not just three, but 4 Palanca Hall of Fame members. The Palanca Hall of Fame is an elite circle of awardees who have achieved the remarkable feat of winning first prize 5 times in any writing category. Tonight, we will honor 4 extraordinary writers who have demonstrated unmatched skill and dedication to the written word. Together, they bring total number of Hall of Fame awardees to 30, as Mrs. Dang Cecilio Palanca mentioned earlier. So now we may now invite Mrs. Criselda Dang Cecilio Palanca and again Mr. Carlos Palanca IV to the stage to present the awards. And to the awardees, please come up on stage as we call on your name. So tawagin ko na rin po dahil excited na kayo. First, we are honored to present the Palanca Hall of Fame Award. Marami pong nagpapa-pictures, kaya po hindi makaakyat yung mga judges tsaka yung mga presenters po natin. So we are honored to present the Palanca Hall of Fame Award to Mr. Eros Sanchez Atalia. His literary masterpieces have earned him the prestigious Hall of Fame Award to include Si Intoy Shokoy ng Calle Marino First Prize Maikling Kwento 2006, Tatlong Gabi, Tatlong Araw Grand Prize Novela in 2013, ang ikatlong Antikristo Grand Prize Novela in 2017, Si Etot First Prize Maikling Kwento in 2019, and 30 Virgins, the grand prize winning novella this year. Next, we are honored to present the Palanca Hall of Fame Award. I just read his Instagram account just seconds before reading this. He's going to add this in his CV. Mr. Michael De Laraco. Kael's literary masterpieces have earned him the prestigious Hall of Fame Award to include Hands for a Fistful of Sand, First Prize Poetry in 2007, ang iba't ibang ngalan ng hangin, First Prize Tula in 2008, Pastoral and Other Poems, First Prize Poetry in 2013, Epistolaryo ng Bagamundo at Tugod ng Multo, First Prize Tula last year, and Panayam sa Abo, the First Prize winner in Tula this year. Congratulations. We are honored to present the Palanca Hall of Fame Award to Mr. Miguel Antonio Alfredo V. Luarca. Luarca's literary masterpiece have earned him the prestigious Hall of Fame to include the following: Mga Kuneho, First Prize, may isang yugto. Dulang may isang yugto in 2013. Bait, First Prize, dulang may isang yugto in 2016. Necropolis, First Prize, dulang ganap ang haba in 2023. Dog's Blood, First Prize full-length play in 2023. And Corridors, this year's First Prize winning full-length play. And finally, we are honored to present probably one of the youngest ever to receive the Palanca Hall of Fame Award to Mr. Joshua Limso. Limso's literary masterpieces have earned him the prestigious Hall of Fame Award to include A Return Home, First Prize Full-Length Play in 2011, Joe Cool Aplicante, First Prize Dulang May Isang Yugto 2012, Tungkol Kay Angela, First Prize Dulang May Ganap Ang Haba in 2014, Mga Silid ng Unos, Tomo Uno, First Prize Dulang May Ganap Ang Haba in 2022, and Pagkapit sa Hangin, which secured the first prize for Dulang May Isang Yugto this year. We kindly invite all the members of the Palanca Awards Hall of Fame who are present tonight to join us on stage, and all the other winners that I have called on earlier. Please join us on stage. Kael. Sila. Mga kaibigan ko po sila lahat. So, Joshua Limso, Kael, and Eros. And Mr. Luarca here. And the winners who, the Hall of Fame winners, yung iba po kasi nagto-toilet break, I think. Luis Gatmaitan, could you please join us on stage? Peter Solis Neri, could you kindly join us on stage? Ruel Aguila, you should join us on stage. Jun Lana, our speaker. Nicolas Pichay, could you please join us on stage? Or else I'll show you our photos in Japan 30 years ago. We would like to call on all the previous Hall of Fame winners to kindly join us on stage. Let us give these Hall of Fame winners a very warm round of applause. Once again, congratulations to our newest inductees into the Palanca Hall of Fame. Your incredible achievements and contributions to Philippine literature are truly inspiring. Here's to more masterpieces and continued inspiration. One more for the official Palanca videos. And that concludes our program for tonight. Our warmest congratulations to all the winners in this year's competition. May we request all the winners to come up on stage for a photo opportunity. Bar service is now resumed. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Mabuhay po ang Carlos Palanca Memorial Awards. Mabuhay po ang Pamilya Palanca. At mabuhay po ang mga panitikan ng Pilipinas. Mabuhay po at maraming salamat sa inyong lahat. Thank you very much.